Waldo Politics is now live streaming just chatting, Alligator Alcatraz. America's newest concentration camp. Getting started soon. Hop into chat to tell me what you are thinking. Go on over to the Discord to leave links.
Oh, hi. How you doing? My name is Waldo, and I am here to feel the politics with you. How is everybody today? I am doing great. Thank you. It was not too hot today. I've got what you can see is the big bright grotesque day star back here. Over the next hour or so, it might dip down into this window here and then just blind the camera. It'll blow out the camera. I think maybe the grotesque day star, also known as the sun. It irritates me during the summertime because it just comes right in that window and it makes me sad, and I don't like it because I don't like the sun. I hate it. Um, hopefully it doesn't get too bad today, but maybe if I'm lucky, it'll give me like an angelic golden hue behind me, but that's unlikely. That never happens. It usually just pisses off the camera. So anyway, hi, how's it going? I'm good. I'm great. Thanks. We've got the Bulbasaur family here again because it's still summertime. So summertime Bulbasaurs, as you can see. And when fall comes along, I'll put something back here, something else back here. I don't know what though. I don't know. I'll come up with something. Suggestions would be welcome. So if you got any ideas what should go back there, I'll put something back there. If you want to, if you're a creative type of some sort, first of all, gross. Second, you can send me stuff to my Discord. The link is right here. Send stuff to the Discord, and I'll put it on the start screen. Yes, that start screen. If you've got funny comics or cool photos or some sort of art or anything you've made you want to put on that start screen, send it to me and I'll put it up there, and it'll be a good time. We'll be interactive. If you saw a funny political meme, send it to me and I will put it right here. And then we can talk about it. We'll have a good time. It'll be fun. Oh, let's see. What is today? Today is Wednesday. So, I've got a handful of links to look at. I've got some news and politics to check out. And then I'll rant about it. So, if you want to get in on the conversation, hop into the chat on Twitch. You get to listen to the lovely lady Robot. There she is. Speak your stuff out loud if you chat. You could go to Kick, and Kick also exists. And I do have a few people who prefer Kick because they hate Jeff Bezos. It's a whole thing. But you can go on over there. You can go over to Kick if you want to. And I wonder if I can. So do I have a Kick link? I don't. Oh, do I have a exclamation Kick link? I don't think Kick. I do. I don't. I do have a YouTube page, though. You can watch on YouTube as well. There's the YouTube link. You can go on over there and chat over there. YouTube chat is slower and does not have a robot. But if you don't want to be on Twitch because you're mad at Jeff Bezos, like everybody else is, then don't go to Twitch. You can do so on YouTube. It's a good time. Let's see. What should we get started with first? Let's do let's look at some of the things that have happened lately. Where is the thing that I wanted to look at first? Oh, not that. That's the big, beautiful bill. We'll look at that later. Let's start with Alligator Alcatraz. Yeah. Let's do that. Alligator Alcatraz. I swear I had these things in order before I started, but I guess I didn't. All right. That's Zoran Mondani. That's not Alligator Alcatraz. Why was the thing lying to me? All right. Here we go. Let's take a look at what this is. What this is America's latest concentration camp. I call it that because it fits all the definitions for a concentration camp. Let's take a look.
So the president is now getting a very intimate tour of this facility, Alligator Alcatraz, and he's looking now at where some of the detainees will be housed and where they will be sleeping. And you could see he's paying very close attention to what the officials.
You could probably fit 20 million people in there, right?
Surrounding him are sharing with him. And again, I think that this truly does speak to what we may see more of if other states start to step up and provide the support to the
more concentration camps, everybody. Hooray!
Federal government in terms of offering up more space to.
I'm kind of sad that Kristi Noem here isn't in a costume of some sort. What she could come in there dressed as like animal control or something like that. About how she fought off the alligators to get there. She could come in Australian bush like khakis and stuff like that, like Steve Irwin. She could come in there as Steve Irwin, the crocodile guy, and just knock it out of the park. She would look great. I'm kind of sad that she didn't come in dressed like that.
Detain some of these individuals who have an order for removal. Let's see if the president is speaking again and see if we can listen in.
You hear the protesters in the background? Nice.
So I would say he should call the governor, Christie, and I'm sure you'd give him because his state is a disaster, and he doesn't do this.
Well, they have the original out.
Just shit talking some other state. Who cares? It doesn't matter. We're building concentration camps, and he's standing in the middle of a concentration camp, shit talking somebody else as usual.
So you guys could approve him being able to set one of these up over there. I'm sure the secretary would be happy to do that and provide some. My sense is he's probably not going to bite on that, but I don't know that they'd be able to come in at cost because they tried to do this high-speed rail. They spent like $150 billion, no tracks. We've got a privately funded rail in Florida from Miami to Orlando, cost the taxpayer zero, and it's very successful. So just a much different approach between states.
Hey, Mr. President, when's the first person checking in this beautiful Alcatraz?
He ought to come here and
Just shit talking California. It doesn't matter. Here we go. All right, let's talk about who's going to get sent there. Obviously, they're going to push for the immigrants to get sent there first. And that's not a surprise that they won't have committed any crimes. We're going to skip all that court shit. ICE is just going to start black bagging people off the street. All the people that they've been collecting there in Los Angeles, they're going to move to Alligator, Alcatraz in Florida. Why? Because nobody cares. Who cares? There are no laws. There are no rules. Judges don't get to decide anything anymore. We're just going to put people into a camp based on their ethnicity and where they were born for political gain, for political reasons entirely. And these aren't criminals. We're just putting them there because it makes our politics better. The people who voted for him really like it. So
Alligator Alcatraz is just some tarps, frames, and dog kennels?
Absolutely it is. It's already flooded. Spoiler for one of the links, 2 or 3 links down. But yeah, it's already flooding and falling apart. We'll get to that here in just a minute. Stick around. Let's hear what this horrible person has to say.
I'd like to say, a little controversial, but I couldn't care less. We have a lot of bad criminals that came into this country, and they came in stupidly. It was an unforced error. It was an incompetent president that allowed it to happen. It was an auto pen maybe that allowed it to happen. And
he says the same thing every time. It's hard for me to react to the same damn words he says over and over and over again forever.
It did happen, but we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not.
He's just imagining these things in his head. This is how his brain works. This is what he thinks about all the time. He's just telling you what's in his brain, what's in his wild imagination.
They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here, too. You want to know the truth. So maybe they'll.
If you commit a crime, even though you were born here, he wants to get rid of you. Oh, look, a bot. Great. Thanks, Mr. Bot. We're gonna block you. Thanks for following, though. Where's the button for swear? It goes over there. Banned. Yeah, I love banning bots. I love banning bots. So much fun. It's only on Kick, too, honestly. Kick. Do better. Full of bots. Let's see. Where did we leave off? Yeah, if you were born here and you commit a crime, he wants to kick you out of the country, deport you. That's insane.
It'll be the next job that we'll work on together. But I think getting them out, we forget about them. We had some bad accidents in New York, and they're not accidents.
he imagines these things, and he'll probably write an executive order, and then the court won't challenge it, and they'll just let it happen. It'll be great. Let's see. I think we've got some. The Republicans are proudly claiming it's Alligator Alcatraz. Let's call it what it is, a concentration camp. What were you doing the day the president attended the opening of an American concentration camp in the Everglades, dubbed Alligator Alcatraz, and by Republican officials because of the predators living on the surrounding swampland? It's been built to cage thousands of people rounded up by ICE and allied law enforcement agencies as part of President Trump's mass deportations. Alligator Alcatraz is a concentration camp. Well, yeah, it is, but it has a clever name, which is why Donald Trump likes it. Donald Trump is a child. He has the brains of a toddler. So when it has a cool name, he's more attracted to it. He's more interested in it. He thinks it's more important. One of his, what's that general? Raisin Cane. His last name is Cane. And so he needed a clever nickname. And a decade ago, maybe even 20 years ago, they called him Raisin Cane. And that makes him Donald Trump's favorite. Not because he's any better at anything or he follows orders anymore. It's because he's got a cool nickname. Donald Trump loves nicknames. Crooked Hillary, Shifty Schiff, Little Marco, Meatball Ron is what he used to call Ron DeSantis, but they're best friends now, apparently. I don't know where my photo of Ron DeSantis went, but he used to call him Meatball Ron, and he's really good at making up the nicknames. Meatball Ron is a fantastic nickname. It really is. That's not what he said. Typical lying lefty. No more illegals. Mr. Gerardo, what are you on about, man? What did I get wrong? What did I get wrong? What did I say that he said? He likes it because he's a toddler. He has a baby brain. That's why he likes it. Let's see. That morning, Trump attended the camp's opening at Okeechobee, Florida, along with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and Florida Governor Ron Meatball DeSantis. We'd like to see them in many states, Trump said. More concentration camps, more concentration camps, more concentration camps. USA, USA, USA. And at some point, they might morph into a system where you're going to keep it for a long time. What? I thought he was deporting them. Mr. Gerardo, I thought he was deporting them. No more illegals, but we're going to keep them for a long time. It's almost like he doesn't know what he's talking about. He complained about the cost of building jails and prisons, then complimented his team, who did this in less than a week. Now, I think I'm willing to bet they've been working on it for a little while. They've been ramping up the concentration camp building for at least the 6 months that Donald Trump has won. For the event, Trump wore one of his signature red ball caps. Gulf of America, his jingoistic name for the Gulf of Mexico. No more a white hat, said "Make America Great Again." Ball cap, gold stitching, great, great, great. The flimsy camp offered them some shelter from the punishing humidity, which would later give way to a downpour. C-SPAN camera followed them into the massive tents where a row of chain link cages contain numerous bunk beds, for the moment empty. Photographers raced ahead of Trump and Noem to get shots of them entering, taking in the cells, pausing to ask inaudible questions. DeSantis stood as if he knew where to put his hands. They're going to sweep this 6 times to make sure there's nothing they could be used as contraband and weapons, DeSantis told Trump a bit too brightly before the detainees come in. He smiled as they told the reporters how soon the prisoners would check in. The American concentration camp on view Tuesday was erected within the Big Cypress National Preserve. No, the people who own the land were not checked with, so that's nice. The tribe was not consulted, so we're building it on Native American land and not bothering to tell them. She was one of hundreds of people protesting on the road outside the camp over the last several days, and you could probably hear her in the background there. People should be concerned about the secrecy of this. It's a big deal. Our ancestors were laid to rest in this area, and they like to talk about it like it's a vast wasteland. It's not. It's their land. We gave it to them because it was a shitty wasteland, but now they get to live there, and we get to take it from them again to build concentration camps. It's a great time. I love to be an American these days. The side of the camp is also public-owned land.
Ron DeSantis rolls over for Trump after everything he said about him during the primaries.
Yeah, calling him Meatball Ron, talked to a bunch of shit about him. But that's the way the conservative hierarchy brain works. You know, they aren't egalitarians where everybody's equal. No. That's gross. That's gross. That's disgusting liberal shit. They build a hierarchy like a pyramid. And at the moment, Donald Trump is at the top of that pyramid. Ron DeSantis is a step or two down. So anything Donald Trump says about him is acceptable. If you're fighting to get to the top, you can say whatever you want. DeSantis can insult Trump. Marco Rubio can insult Trump. Ted Cruz can talk shit about Trump. But once he's on the top, you have to respect it. Alpha dog, pyramid, hierarchy, brain state that conservatives live within constantly. And that's why they get so upset when they see somebody breaking away from that pyramid shape.
Fall in line like a bit by.
Yeah, exactly. You fall in line. That's why they get so upset when somebody challenges that, like a black guy being over them. If a president with a funny name like Obama is in charge of these people, they hate it because he doesn't belong at the top of the pyramid. You see? He must have tricked his way up there. He must have played the race card to get on top of that pyramid. He couldn't have gotten there on his own merits. No, gross, disgusting. They can't fathom that idea. Same for women. Women couldn't possibly have gotten to the top of the pyramid. Ugh. By skill? No. Have you ever met a woman? No. They must have slept their way to the top. That is the common complaints that conservatives have about those kinds of things. So yeah, they are pyramid-shaped hierarchy lovers. And I don't even think that's a choice that they make. Honestly, I don't think that's a choice a human being makes, whether to be egalitarian or hierarchical. I don't think it's a choice that a person makes. You're born that way. It's ingrained into your brain. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's about 50-50. 50% you're born that way, and then the other half you have to kind of learn. If you were born egalitarian and then somebody tricked you and fed you a bunch of right-wing propaganda to make you into a hierarchical thinker, you might be able to change. I don't know. It's hard to guess. It's difficult. Nobody knows. Scientists haven't figured it out yet. Two environmental groups working in the area, Friends of the Everglades. I don't care about the environmentalists, and neither do the Republicans, so we're going to move on. There's no reason to believe any of the claims from the Florida and federal governments. The same day the concentration camp opened, ABC News reported that despite Trump's campaign refrain that his mass deportations would target criminals, new data shows a recent shift towards also arresting those who have not been accused of crimes. Mr. Gerardo, I know you have already left YouTube chat, but they haven't done any crime. This is foretold by Tom Homan's Trump's immigration czar, who was the face of the mass deportation plan long before Trump returned to the White House. No one is off the table, Homan said. So they're just rounding up people based on their ethnicity and where they were born, putting them into a concentration camp. I don't like that. I think that's a bad look for my country, home of the brave, home of the free, land of the free, home of the brave. I would prefer us not to be terrified and remove everybody's freedom. You know what I'm saying? On Monday, a reporter asked Homan about the 75-year-old man who died in ICE custody recently, and his response was, "People die in ICE custody." I think that's how he. I could do my Tom Homan impression. "People die in ICE custody," he said. "The question should be, how many lives has ICE saved?" Well, none. He challenged reporters to look into ICE's detention standards. Last week, Wired reported on chilling pattern of apparent neglect inside immigrant detention centers based on the nearly 400 calls made from 911 from the 10 largest ICE facilities. Incidents include seizures, self-harm, sexual abuse. Some calls were made by the people caged inside, desperate for help. I love when our government...
Gotta get shit-faced before you can do that impression.
I know, I'm entirely too sober to do an impression of him. Let's see. The press conference at the concentration camp, Trump learned that his massive budget bill in the Senate has passed. We'll look at that here in just a minute as well. So let's look at this one here. Bam. Trump's Alligator Alcatraz is already flooding. So it's already falling apart. The immigrant detention center is underwater within a day of opening. The monstrous recently constructed immigration detention facility in the Florida Everglades. Can't talk tonight, man. I'm flubbing up every other word. Flippantly dubbed Alligator Alcatraz, literally took on water within a day of President Trump's visiting the camp Tuesday to commemorate its planned Wednesday opening. Florida officials have assured the public that the facility, which will cost an estimated $450 million per year to operate, was built to withstand Category 2 hurricanes, but it wasn't really. A report by the Miami Herald further casts into doubt official claims about the facility's durability. According to the Herald, a garden variety South Florida summer rainstorm on Tuesday afternoon, about 1.5 inches of rain caused flooding in the facility. 1.5 inches of rain, which isn't much for Florida, caused the place to flood. Let's see if we can look at some videos. There we go. Let's watch them. Has it got audio? There it is. No. Yeah, look at the ceiling flipping around. No, this one. There it is. So there's water coming in right here. You see the water coming in the little joints there. Coming up under the door. Look at it. Look at that. Just look for the flag in its puddle. So it's going to suck and it's not going to work very well. And the people there are just going to suffer. Oh, another bot to ban. Amazing. We're going to ban it. Boom. So much fun.
Flag in a puddle next to an electrical cable is peak cinema.
I know, right? It's that. Yeah, it's perfect. That's disrespectful flag for shame DeSantis. Yeah, I know. He wouldn't know that though. You're right. So, what are we thinking? They said it was on Wednesday that the Florida Division of Emergency Management told the Herald that contractors overnight went back and tightened any seams at the base of the structures that allowed water intrusion during a heavy storm. So they tightened it up, boys. Don't worry. If the water can get in, I bet the people can get out. I'm just guessing. 2 dozen House Democrats, led by Representatives Maxwell Frost, rallied against the makeshift, unsafe, unsanitary, overly crowded, and environmentally destructive facility. In a letter, detainees will be kept in tents with inadequate sanitation facilities and will be facing unbearable living conditions, including exposure to deadly pathogens, constant threats from unpredictable flooding, and extreme weather events, and daily temperatures not averaging 90 degrees, with a heat index of over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Boss, I hate to break this to you, Maxwell Frost. I think you're a smart guy, but that only makes the Republicans want to do it more. You're not dealing with intelligent people making calm, rational decisions about the complex state of the universe. No, you have people who are in their feelings. They feel terrified of the millions and millions and billions of illegals that Joe Biden brought in to steal their house and steal their lunch money and steal their job and steal their Social Security and steal their unemployment and steal their cars and marry their daughters and have little brown babies. They're terrified of this. Why? Well, because the TV told them to be terrified of this. And that makes it real and true and right. And then Donald Trump told them he knew how to fix it, and that was to get them all out. Now, that's very easy to say. You can say it all day long. It's real simple. That's what that old meaning is. The old saying that talk is cheap and easier said than done, because you can say deport 100 billion people, but you can't do it. You can't deport any of them. It's really difficult to deport people. It's not that difficult, but to do it right, it takes work and effort and people and facilities like this. But that facility is shitty and we hate it, and it's filled with water, and it's not going to go well. It's going to go poorly because you've got dipshits in charge like DeSantis. if they were smarter, they could come up with a better plan, but they're not, so they don't. Let's look at the definition. So some people are getting all pissy.
Cruelty is the point.
Cruelty is the point. You're right. And that is why this explanation won't deter them. Telling them that it's filled with deadly pathogens just makes the Republicans' dicks hard. Constant threats from unpredictable flooding and extreme weather events, well, that's their fault for being illegal, isn't it? Have they tried being rich and legal? Have they even bothered to try doing that? I don't think they have. So they're just going to be excited about this. They're going to love it. They're going to be all over it. They're going to be all about it. They're going to secretly beat off to the idea that we're filling it with millions of people who are going to then be kicked out of the country. They love that idea because then maybe their lives will get better somehow. They don't know how. They're not entirely sure how. And there's no sense to it, so it doesn't matter trying to track it down, but try to navigate that thought process. But they feel like it would make them happier. It's not going to, but let's see what else we got. We've got the definition for concentration camp. So a concentration camp is a prison or other facility, so check, used for the internment of political prisoners, check, or politically targeted demographics, check, such as members of a national or ethnic minority groups, check, on the grounds of national security, check, for exploitation or punishment. We haven't gotten to the exploitation yet. I think the exploitation is coming, but the punishment is already there. The exploitation is going to come when Rhonda Santis, the lovely lady that she is, starts making them do work. And that's coming. That is absolutely going to happen. Rhonda Santis is going to make the people in that camp do work for the state of Florida. Like slaves. Like, being exploited is part of the point. They want that Alligator Alcatraz to turn into a work camp. And then ICE can round up some more people and send them there for work. I keep pointing at and keep making the Nazi comparisons because they're apt. I'm not making the Nazi comparisons for fun, because it gets me views. Have you seen my numbers? They're not great. I don't keep talking about that kind of stuff because it's edgy and makes me cool. It doesn't. Look at me. I keep saying it because it's true. It is relevant and it is an apt comparison. These are fascists building concentration camps in your country, in my country, and I don't like it. I would like them to stop, please. I would like them to not be in charge of the country any longer. Can we do that, please? And notice that I didn't say it was our first concentration camp, because we've had them before. You remember the kids in cages discourse from a few years ago? Well, that was a concentration camp back then. And then in World War II, we had one for Japanese people. This is not good. I'm not defending either of those, and I'm not defending it for the World War II either. That was also wrong. But it's something that we can do, and we know how to do it, and we've been doing it for a very long time. I'd rather we stopped. If you're concerned about me calling it a concentration camp, thinking that I'm going too far or being too inflammatory, relax. I only call it a concentration camp because it fits the literal definition of one. If any conservative tries to deny that Alligator Alcatraz is a concentration camp, they have abandoned the actual definition of those words. They have let their feelings for a political party, one political leader in particular, cloud their judgment, ignoring facts and logic. So what do we expect over the next few weeks as people begin to arrive there? Conservative politicians and news anchors to honestly call it a concentration camp? No. I don't think they'll do that. I expect them to fight against those words with feelings of fear and loathing for the illegal, alien, criminal, drug-dealing, gang member, human trafficking, inhuman monsters that stole your job and your Social Security and your unemployment and caused all the problems that you have in your life. Kids won't call you anymore. Immigrants did that. Stub your toe on the couch. Immigrants did that. Your favorite fast food item got taken off the menu. Immigrants did that too. They are blamed for every problem in this country, and it's not by accident. Billionaire CEOs pay millionaire news anchors to tell the poor people how to feel. This is all based on feelings, as usual. All politics are based on feelings. The billionaire CEOs and the news anchors know that all politics are based on feelings. The politicians know that. I know that, and if you watch this stream often enough, you will know that too, because you hear me say it every damn time. The reason I keep harping on and on about it is because I think the manipulation of those feelings is the source of our entire political divide in this country. The billionaires pay the millionaires to tell the poor people that the source of all the problems is other poor people. If you're watching the news or doom scrolling the internet, try to keep an eye out for conservative feelings. They're out there all the time, on display for everyone to see, constantly reinforced, hopefully. And I mean, what can I possibly do? Hopefully, maybe people will begin to see these things. That's why I do this silly, useless little stream, to point at that root cause. Why has the government of Florida made a concentration camp? Because to get elected, Donald Trump promised to deport millions of people. Why did he make that promise? Because the people are terrified and angry about the immigrants and the immigrant crime. Why do the people feel that way? Because the media told them to feel that way. Why did the media do that? Because the billionaire CEOs paid them to. Why did the CEOs pay them? They need the people to be distracted away from the massive upward wealth redistribution schemes that they are running. Why are they doing that? Because capitalism demands it. We could feed the poor people and house all the homeless. We could give everyone good, high-quality health care, but we won't. Because most of our politicians, even the ones on the Democratic side, are trying to satisfy the never-ending hunger of the wealthy. You cannot feed them enough to make them stop. They will never have enough. They will always want more, and you are going to pay for it. We need people to see the real problem. No one's life will be improved by locking migrants in an alligator swamp. The economy will not improve. The price of gas is controlled by billionaires, not immigrants. The price of eggs is controlled by corporations, not illegal aliens. The taxes you pay are determined by the wealthy, not the poor. They are the problem. And that is my very fun rant. How was the rant? I liked it. It was a good time. And so, yeah, if you're watching, hop in the chat. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. How'd you think about that? What do you think about Alligator Alcatraz? How long will it stay? Will it get blown away in a hurricane? Will it become a tourist destination? They already have merch. I'm going to turn this into a YouTube segment. So what I do is
YouTube.
You just saw me make some live YouTube. So what I do is I turn this into little segments and then I put it on the YouTube and you can go there and watch it. It's a good time. My last video popped off pretty well. It might be one of the best videos I've ever had about Trump being a king. Go on over there and watch it if you haven't seen it already.
Merch is the most fucked up part.
Yeah, let's find the merch. Let me find the merch. Here we go. Selling Alligator Alcatraz prison merchandise is the deranged new low for the GOP. But it's Republican families are going to bring their...
It'll 100% get blown away. Just hopefully they haven't put people in it by then.
Right. I hope you're right. I hope they don't. But they might still sell the merch for the next decade, man. Even if, imagine that, it blows away. They would keep selling the hats because they need that sweet, sweet dosh. They need those dollars. They need that money. So they're going to keep printing it. They're going to keep selling it for the rest of their lives, forever. And when it does get blown away, maybe they'll rebuild it. Maybe they won't. But the merchandise is going to be sold, I guess, to people when they come visit. Like, conservatives, are you going to go visit the prison? Are you going to go visit the concentration camp and, like, look at the immigrants like they're in a zoo? I'm worried that they are. I'm really worried that that's what they're going to do. They're going to open up a viewing chamber or something with one-way glass or those one-way mirrors or something like that. So middle-class American families can drive from Kansas through the Southeast all the way down to
tourism on the rise.
Yeah, all the way down to Florida. And then they get out and they get there and they get their cameras ready and they take a look at the Hondurans and they watch it like a nature documentary, like a zoo. Are zoos immoral? Yeah, kind of. But I get the idea that you don't get to see lions on a regular basis, and seeing them at all is pretty dangerous unless you're at the zoo. So I can almost comprehend it. And I know that the zoos and water theme parks all have some bad stuff, but some of them do actually care about the animals and the ecology and all that fun stuff. And then they raise money for environmentalism. It can be done well, but I don't think this could be done well. I don't think the human zoo is going to go real well. That sounds like a bad plan. Sounds like a bad time. And then they'll take photos and they'll bring their cameras. Then they'll go to the gift shop and they'll buy their merch and say they'll have a funny hat that says, "I escaped Alligator Alcatraz and all I got was this hat." And then the hat will have like a bite taken out of it. It'll be a good time. It'll be great. They'll love it. The new migrant detention center is basically an American gulag, but who wants a t-shirt? Can I see one? I kind of want to see them. I want to see them. I wonder if there's some pictures, images. Come on, Google. There we go. Alligator Alcatraz with little scratches on it. And there's a fascist wearing the hat. It's got an alligator on it. It says Alcatraz. Hooray. The fascists have like merch and branding now. And we got beer koozies. See, so you're going to go there and you're going to drink beer while looking at these people. And you're going to need a koozie to keep your can of Coors Light cold. Because you'd hate to taste it if it got warm. The formaldehyde just hits different when it's warm.
Trump joked about having migrants fight MMA for citizenship too. They literally don't see them as people.
Yeah, they were talking about a game show, but I don't know if it was somebody who was talking about putting them in a game show, which is disturbing on its own, because they were like, what if they do an event and they get a game show? And somebody was talking about that, and then they told Trump about it. He thought it was a great idea, but I don't know that that's actually gone anywhere real yet. It wouldn't surprise me if they did. Donald Trump is a game show host. He loves that shit. So he would love to host a TV game show where he just told them you're a citizen. You are, what would his catchphrase be? You're fired. You're fired is the one that really creams his jeans when he's on that stupid TV show.
Doubt it will happen. Might accidentally humanize immigrants.
Well, that's how you get the center on board, Shinseto. You get the center on board, those wishy-washy centrists who don't know what's going on, and they would see one person out of these 12 win their citizenship and then think, oh, it's fine, there's a system in place. The center is very dumb. Hi, 10 past 11. Thanks for coming. Quick trial. Yeah. You're deported would be better than you're fired. You're deported. Jose, you came here and you only picked 17 tomatoes. Rodrigo next to you picked 21 tomatoes. Sorry, Jose, you're deported. Could work. Wouldn't surprise me. So, yeah, that was the big rant for tonight. What else do we have to talk about? Let's look at the internet. What do we got? We got the big, beautiful bill, don't we? The big, beautiful bill is going to probably pass any minute now. It might have already happened while I'm speaking, but I'm not sure. What does Trump have to say about this? Something stupid and filled with lies. Almost all of our great Republicans in the United States Senate have passed one big, beautiful bill. It's no longer a House bill or a Senate bill. It's everyone's bill. There's so much to be proud of, and everyone got a major policy win. But the biggest winner of them all will be the American people, who will have permanently lower taxes if you're rich, higher wages. What? I don't think there's higher wages in there, boss. and take-home pay. Oh, he's talking about the tax on tips, which is offset by the fact that you're cutting Medicaid from a lot of the poor people. Secure borders, no. And a stronger, more powerful military. I mean, that's probably true, but they got more money. Additionally, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security benefits are not being cut. They're being strengthened and protected by the radical and destructive, but from the radical and destructive Democrats by eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse from those programs. No, that's not true. They're just going to chop it off for a whole lot of people. We can have this right now, but only if the House GOP unites, ignores its occasional grandstanders, you know who you are, and does the right thing, which is sending the bill to my desk. We are on schedule. Let's keep it going and be done before you and your family go on July 4th vacation. The American people need and deserve it. They sent us here to get it done. He really wants it done on or before the 4th so that it becomes a TV show, man. TV is all he cares about. He doesn't care about what's in the bill. He just needs a big, beautiful bill on the 4th of July. Doesn't matter what it says. Doesn't matter what's written in it. Doesn't matter if the important parts all got stripped out. He needs it on the thing, on the TV, so that it can sound good on television. Because that's what he cares about. Our country is going to explode with massive growth, even more than it already has since I was reelected. Between the growth, this bill, the tariffs, and more, the one big beautiful bill sets the United States down a fiscal path by greatly reducing our federal deficit. No, it doesn't. It increases the deficit. It increases the deficit. The only way it doesn't increase the deficit, Donnie, is if your imaginary growth happens. The only way that it doesn't, and this is from him directly. They said, hey, we looked at the numbers. This increases the deficit. And he's like, no, we're going to get growth. No, we won't. No, we won't. If we win the lottery, we'll have more money. Yeah. If I won the lottery, I'd have a lot more money. But I'm not going to win the lottery. Obviously. So it is going to increase the deficit, and then he's going to blame the Democrats. He's going to blame the brown people. He's going to blame the fact that there aren't enough people in Alligator, Alcatraz. He's going to blame Waldo. He's going to blame you for watching Waldo. He's going to blame everybody except himself and put lots of those people into concentration camps, since we're spinning them up all over the country. Pretty soon, there will be a concentration camp near you that you can report to for saying things that are true about Donald Trump. It'll be a good time. Let's see what else we got. How the Supreme Court gerrymandered the law to serve the GOP. Yeah, that's what happened. Last week, the Supreme Court finished releasing its opinions in the cases argued in the October 24 term. In decision after decision, it became clear that the Republican justices have gerrymandered the law to generate a bunch of legal rules that fit pretty neatly into the Republican Party's preferences. That's what I've been saying. The Supreme Court isn't making decisions based on what's true and what's correct and what the evidence is suggesting. They're making up rules, bending the law, bending the rules, bending everything so that the Republican Party can win. Take a look at the court's near end-of-term decision in Medina versus Planned Parenthood. There, the issue was whether the general civil rights statute supplied a cause of action to enforce a provision of the Federal Medicaid Act that guarantees Medicaid patients the ability to select a qualified provider of their choice, blah, 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 legal speak. Section 1983 authorizes lawsuits for deprivations of rights, privileges, or immunities secured by federal law. The Medicaid Act is a federal law. Gorsuch's majority opinion, the Republican justices, however, pointed out that Medicaid's Act isn't just any old federal law, it's a spending power legislation. That means that the act outlines a deal. It contains a set of conditions that states agree to in order to receive certain federal funds. Here, money to the fund a state's provision of Medicaid, spending power legislation, and Republican appointees concluded was more in the nature of a contract than a law, and therefore generally can't be enforced under the civil rights law. This law has money involved, which makes it a contract and not a law. They will just do whatever they can. They will find any loophole they can. They will bend any language any way they want. They're lawyers. That's what they do. Lawyers put the words in a certain order, to benefit themselves. That's what all lawyers do. They put the words in the right order and then speak it out loud like a magic spell, and then they get what they want. Usually, whichever side has the better lawyer to put the words in the right order wins. And then the judges get to decide what order the words go in, and then they win based on their ideology. It's not the way that judges are supposed to work, but it is at the Supreme Court, apparently, since we've all given up on the idea that the Supreme Court should be some sort of neutral thing. Nobody thought that. Nobody's thought that for 30 damn years. And I'm not happy about that. I wish we could have some sort of neutral body, but we can't. We thought maybe.
Bending over backwards to make is fit.
Yeah, exactly. They're working really hard to make the Republicans win because they are Republicans. They like getting paid. Clarence Thomas loves all the bribes he receives. Blatantly loves them. We know he gets them. It's not even a secret. Everybody knows that rich people pay him, and then he does what they want. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. That's what you're going to do about it, because the system is rotten from the top. Money has corrupted the Supreme Court. They have abandoned the Constitution and given Donald Trump last week the power to do whatever he wants. More concentration camps are coming. All the red states will be full of them. And they'll start rounding people up and dragging them to these concentration camps. There's nothing we can do about it. I mean, violence is the only answer left. It's the only thing left. The courts have all abandoned us. Not happy about this, and I'm not advocating you do anything about that, but the courts have all abandoned us. They have abandoned their jobs. Well, not all of them, but I mean the Supreme Court specifically has abandoned the Constitution. The Senate has given all of their power away to the president because they don't want to lose the next election. And if anything goes wrong, they can just blame the president that they don't like, that isn't part of their party. If anything went wrong in the Senate today, they blame Joe Biden. Doesn't matter whether it's his fault or not. They'll just do it. And so they give the president more power. They give all the presidents more power because they don't like doing their job. They want all the money and they want to be on TV, but they don't want to make decisions and read laws and shit. That's gross and terrible, and they hate it. And it makes them feel bad. And somebody always suffers. When every law that's written, somebody suffers. And they don't want to be responsible for that. So let's just give it to Donnie. Give it to Donald Trump. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care about human suffering. Let him make that decision. And then we get to blame him if anything goes really, really wrong. And then I won't lose my next election.
Scott is supposed to be the final arbiter of the Constitution, and if they refuse to uphold it, then we don't have a country anymore.
Right. And that's what I talked about in my last video on YouTube, and I railed about it and I complained about it forever. But 10 past 11 is right. That is nerd shit. And Republicans and Donnie don't have time for nerd shit. Laws, the Constitution, is nerd shit. And Republicans and Donald Trump don't do nerd shit. They do fast, acting, manly, important alpha shit, like building a concentration camp and then just throwing people into it willy-nilly. Throwing people out of the country at random without checking with a judge. That's manly and important and really well done, kind of like Kilmore Obrego Garcia over here. He was tortured in the Salvadoran prison, according to a court filing. New court documents allege the physical and psychological torture in CSOT in one of the first looks at the conditions in prison. This is why they didn't want him to come back. This is why they didn't want him to come back. They sent him to a gulag where he was tortured, and they knew that if he came back, he would tell everyone. The lawyers and the reporters would ask him what happened, and he would say torture. The Maryland man who was wrongfully deported to El Salvador and detained in one of the country's most notorious prisons was physically and psychologically tortured during the 3 months he spent in Salvadoran custody, according to new court documents. There are 130 other people there right now also being psychologically tortured. It's still happening. It hasn't stopped just because this one guy got to come home. While being held at the so-called Terrorism Confinement Center in El Salvador, he and 20 other men were forced to kneel from approximately 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. So all night long, from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., according to the papers filed by the thing. Guards struck anyone who fell from exhaustion while kneeling, and during that time, Abrego Garcia was denied bathroom access and soiled himself. Torture. Detainees were held in an overcrowded cell with no windows and bright lights on 24 hours a day. They were confined to metal bunk beds with no mattresses. Abreu Garcia's testimony is one of the first detailed insights the world has had into conditions inside CSOT, a mega prison that human rights groups say is designed to disappear people. His lawyers say he lost 31 pounds during his first 2 weeks of confinement. 31 pounds in 2 weeks. Later, they write, he and 4 others were transferred to a different part of the prison where they were photographed with mattresses and better food, photos that appeared to be staged to document improved conditions. Hooray for propaganda! Good times. The filings also note that the officials within the prison acknowledged that Abreu Garcia was not a gang member and that his tattoos did not indicate a gang affiliation. Prison officials explicitly acknowledged that plaintiff Abreu Garcia's tattoos were not gang-related, telling him, your tattoos are fine, per the filing, and they kept him in a cell separate from those accused of gang membership. But, that blonde Nazi lady told me that he was a child endangering, human trafficking, drug cartel mule super criminal. Almost like she's lying. I'm starting to think these Trump folks are not telling us the truth. The prison officials, however, threatened to move Abreu Garcia into a cell with gang members whom officials said would tear him apart. Great. If you act up, if you say bad things when you're in front of the TV camera, we will put you in there with the gang members who will tear you apart. Garcia is currently in federal custody in Nashville. Why Nashville? Because fuck you, that's why. The Trump administration brought him back from El Salvador after initially claiming it was powerless to do so. We can't bring him back. No, they were lying. The U.S. Justice Department wants him to stand trial on human smuggling charges. The administration has also accused him of being a member of the street gang MS-13, and Donald Trump has claimed that Abreu Garcia's tattoos indicate he belonged to the gang. He pled not guilty to the smuggling charges, which his attorneys have characterized as an attempt to justify the administration's mistake in deporting him after the fact. That's the problem. They rounded up somebody, didn't check with a judge, they sent him to the gulag, and then he complained. And some people were like, hey, why'd you send that guy to the gulag? You got any evidence? No. Did you talk to a judge? No. Did he get a defense? No. Okay, then why'd you send him to a prison?
The MS-13 in Times New Roman on his knuckle.
Right. The tattoos that Donald was sure were real. On Sunday, a Tennessee judge. Wait, thought we were in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, Nashville is Tennessee. Stupid Waldo. Ordered his release while the criminal case plays out, but prosecutors and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement would take Abreu Garcia into custody. If that were to happen, he would be tortured before he was given the chance to stand trial. They're just standing outside the courtroom, and if the court judge says you are free to go home to await your trial, they're going to arrest him again. Dude, there are 2 sets of laws in this fucking country. There really are. There's the normal law enforcement, and then there's this extra component called ICE, who just gets to do whatever the damn hell they want because they work directly for the president. Sounds like a bad, abusive relationship. I've made smarmy remarks a fucking year ago about Donald Trump taking the Jan 6 boys and turning them into the brown shirts, and he's done it. I predict lots of things on here. I predict things all the time. Most of the time they don't come true, but I was right about this one. ICE is the Gestapo. They are the brown shirts. Somebody in YouTube chat was giving me grief about, oh, you're so intelligent and insightful for comparing them to Nazis. Well, motherfucker, they are Nazis. I don't know why you're giving me grief about it. Just being smarmy and saying, oh, Waldo, it's not very original to compare them to Nazis. Well, they're doing Nazi shit. Quit doing Nazi shit, and I'll quit comparing you to Nazis. The Gestapo is just going to arrest him if he ever steps outside of a courtroom ever again. And that's insane. Like, the judge could probably put out some sort of order, but like, no, do not deport him. And they would do it anyway. And who would stop them? The court can't stop them. The police won't stop them. The FBI can't stop them and won't stop them. And even if they did do something incorrect or illegal in shipping him off, the Republican Pam Bondi would lie about it. She would tell you that he got deported again And she wouldn't tell you. He would get deported. Then he would miss a court date because he was been sent back to the prison. And then she would say, he didn't even show up for his court date. Pam Bondi will do that. Pam Bondi will put him in a fucking jail and then tell you that he missed his court date, so he shouldn't be in this country anymore. We need to deport him. We need to get rid of him. That's what'll happen. They'll force him to miss his court dates and then use that as an excuse of why he is a criminal. He missed his court date. He's a criminal. Justice Department lawyer told a federal judge in Maryland, why are we in Maryland now? Well, that's where he's from, that the administration would deport Abrego Garcia, not to El Salvador, but to another third country, contradicting statements from Attorney General Pam Bondi that he would be sent to El Salvador. So they don't even know. They'll just send him wherever the fuck they want. We have a concentration camp in Djibouti now, so maybe they'll send him there. Amid the confusion, Garcia's lawyers requested that their client remain in criminal custody, fearing that if he were released, he would be deported. Upcoming hearings in both Maryland and Tennessee will be decided whether Abrego Garcia will be able to remain in the U.S. and be released from jail. I don't think it's ever going to end for this guy. I really don't. I think even if they have an actual criminal trial and the jury of his peers finds him not guilty, ICE will still be outside that place waiting for him. And when he walks out and the cameras are there, they will take him into custody and say that he is illegal and he must be deported, and they will send him right back. If he's lucky, they'll just drop him off at the El Salvador airport and let him loose. That's how the deportations are supposed to work. When Joe Biden did deportations, and he did more than Trump, I'm not happy about that, but I know he did. The way they did it is they picked you up, they put you in front of a judge, they figured out why you're here, what's going on, what's gone wrong, did you come in illegally? And if they were going to deport you, they dropped you off at the airport in your home country. That's it. They didn't put you in chains. They didn't send you to the gulag. They didn't send you to the torture prison. If you're going to go to the torture prison, you should get a lawyer first. That's all I'm asking. I know I'm a terrible, bleeding heart liberal monster for asking that people get lawyer defense before they go to the torture prison. Conservatives want to just skip that part and go right to the torture prison. They love it. Let's see what else we got. We got that one. We got that one. Zoran Mandami. I still can't speak tonight. Man, I am all night long. Hop into chat. Tell me how much I suck. What does Donald Trump have to say about Zoran Mamdani? Let's hear.
Your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zoran Mandami, who
He's not a communist. He's a socialist, and they don't know the difference, but it doesn't matter.
His nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zoran Mandami?
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation. We send him money. We send him all the things that he needs to run a government. And by the way, they get about 3 times what you get, Ron. If you look at...
They get 3 times what you get, Ron. The blue states put more into the federal government than they get. I don't believe him for a moment. I really don't. I don't think that that's true. The blue states provide for all the red states. All the red states are feeding off of the blue states because that's where the people are. That's where the good stuff is. That's where all of the industry and the people and the commerce and the economy is. It's in the blue states. And when they do all that work, it gets taxed a little bit and then it's given to the loser red states. That's how it works. Because you can't go to the red states and do good things. They suck. And the people there usually don't want good things. They want bad stuff. It's weird that way. But put him in jail, arrest him for preventing ICE from arresting people. I think ICE doesn't have the authority to be arresting people. But he'll write it into an executive order and the laws don't matter anymore. Donald will just arrest this guy for being a communist and it'll be fine. What could possibly go wrong? I swear I had one more to watch. Here we go. Still on the New York mayor race.
Much less than a communist, but right now he's a communist. That's not a socialist. You know, I've always said
He has very obviously said he was a socialist, but because these people don't care about what is true and real and correct, they don't care about facts or logic, they'll just call him a communist.
Will not have socialism in this country. In the speeches, I said, well, what? They skipped socialism. And you got a lot of them like that. And you see AOC, she's out there with her, bad IQ. She's out there ranting and raving about how wonderful he is. And look, so far he's winning. He still has a race to win, but so far he's winning, and he has an advantage as a Democrat in New York City. I was there a long time ago, and it was a long time since a Republican won the city. Yeah, but you would think that a Republican would be able to win. Or you have a good independent running, Mayor Adams, who's a very good person. I helped him out a little bit. He had a problem.
LOL, her bad
he was
IQ.
unfairly hurt over this question. He made a statement to the effect that this is terrible. New York City can't have all.
So what's he talking about with Mayor Adams? Mayor Adams is a Democrat who was brought up on corruption charges, and Donald Trump made the DOJ stop investigating. Eric Adams was accused of a crime, and Donald Trump said, no, hang on. If you be my friend, you won't be accused of this crime any longer. Eric Adams agreed, and then they stopped investigating him for crimes. That's what he means when he says, I helped him out a little bit. He had a problem. Donald Trump is a mob boss. If you commit a crime, you're allowed to get away with that crime if you talk about how great Donald Trump is. He will make that crime go away. If you promise him something, he will make your crimes go away. He will make your investigations vanish. If you say things Donald Trump doesn't like, you get double investigated. Even if you haven't committed any crimes, you get investigated. They're going to investigate Mamdani, not because he did anything wrong, but because he said things Trump doesn't like. Freedom of speech is gone. The Supreme Court abandoned the Constitution, and you no longer have the freedom of speech. Neither does Zoran Mamdani, and neither does Eric Adams. If Eric Adams said anything bad about Trump, that investigation would be back on. They would pick it right back up and threaten him with it and tell him that he's going to have a real bad time. You're going to have a bad time, okay? I'm starting that investigation up again. Maybe it had legs. You don't know. I know. I've been hearing from people. The people are telling me that this investigation shouldn't have been canceled. So we're going to bring it back up. He doesn't care about what's real or correct or true. He just wants his own power for himself. Here we go. This is what I said earlier about the him making new election laws.
Because if you don't have borders in this country, borders and good elections, and we're working on that next. There's some bills coming in that's going to make sure that you're a citizen, that people aren't counted in the voting when, they were here and they're here as illegals and they're criminals in many cases. And
none of that has ever happened. That has never happened. It's never happened. It's an imaginary boogeyman that the Republicans use constantly. They constantly tell you that illegals are voting, and it's never happened. It's never happened. It's imaginary. We have to pass new laws to make this imaginary problem go away. Let's make some new laws about leprechauns. The leprechauns are overrunning our streets, and we need to pass some laws about the imaginary thing that is in my head.
They give them a count, and you end up with extra congressmen. We're going to work on that. We're going to straighten that out next. That's going to be easy compared to what we were doing. But we did the big things, too. But little things like that, a straw, little things like a washing machine with no water.
God, he's still on about the washing machines with no water. He's so dumb, y'all. He really is very, very, very stupid. He's still upset about the washing machines with no water and the sinks that don't have any water and the faucets that don't have any water. He's just an idiot, man. He doesn't.
What is that lunacy?
Oh, you've never heard that? The whole rant It's insanity, dude. He thinks that just faucets don't work anymore.
People go out, they spend all their money on a washing machine. The damn thing doesn't work. You can't use the water. Then you go to your sink and that doesn't work either. You're stuck. You know what you do? You have dirty plates the next day. That's it. And we solved so many common sense problems.
He went on for about another minute and a half. I don't have the clip, but I watched some of it. He doesn't think that your sink works. Man, he heard one businessman piss and moan 20 years ago about water saving technology and stuff like that. And he still thinks it's true. He still thinks it's a fact to this day. He still thinks that most people are just standing under drip, 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 almost no shower water, no pressure, no water, and your dishwasher doesn't use any water. He misunderstands.
Did they forgot to pay their water bill? And they blame the appliance?
No, like a businessman was probably 20 years ago pissing and moaning, bitching and complaining about like environmental standards. You know how you ever used a low flow toilet? There was an entire King of the Hill episode about this. There's like one guy who sold low flow toilets, and maybe that's where Trump got it. He was watching King of the Hill. That boy ain't right. I'll tell you what. Can I do a Boomhauer? Okay, Boomhauer on low flow toilet. Dang on, man! I'll tell you what. I went to the number one, and I went down there and I went to number one. I pressed the button and it didn't go down. It didn't go down. And I don't know. I'll tell you what, man, it didn't go down. I don't know what I'm going to do about this thing. I press it down. I press it again. I press it again. It didn't go down. I don't know where. Yellow, mellow, brown. I try and send it down, but it didn't go down. All right, I'm not very good at Boomhauer, but
I get it about the low flow toilets.
Right, and so he spoke to some magnate of business, some man who is in charge of like GE or some shit about making appliances. And that man complained about the environmental regulations that he had to do. And then the impact of those environmental regulations was that there was less pressure in the shower heads than there was back in 1965. And Donald Trump has held on to that for a very long time. He's been complaining about that shit since 2014, maybe before. I first heard him talk about it a decade ago. And he is still talking about it. So I don't know if you've noticed the decade-long pile-up of dishes in your kitchen.
I think it's this interview he starts talking about how he had to make California open up their water for the fires.
He did mention that as well. He went on this one for a little while. I think that's all I've got on this one. But yeah, he was talking about the water and the water he opened up for the fires. He didn't do any of that. None of that is true. He lives in a completely different universe from you and me, where everything he does is amazing and everyone around him tells him how great he is.
Waldop 3
He's got the blind spot. You're right. Good call. He's got the blind spot on. So yeah, he heard on Twitter, because that's where all true things come from. That's where all truth comes from, is Twitter. He heard that the California firefighters didn't have any water pressure. It's not because they ran out of water. It's because they were opening so many of the spigots at the same time that they lost pressure. Once they got control of that, they closed off a few of them. They prioritized which ones to use, which ones not, and the water was fine. The problem was solved in a day. That's not what Twitter said. Twitter said, California's out of water. No water in California. Everybody's ruined. Everything is destroyed. The whole state is going to burn. Los Angeles is destroyed, wiped off the map, completely ruined for eternity because they didn't have any water. So Donald Trump went to what was that, an aquifer or a levee or some shit, and then had some Army Corps of Engineer guy turn a knob, and then water poured out onto a floodplain, and he said, I did it. Yay. I did it. Gave them all the water. No, you didn't give them any water. Los Angeles County didn't get any of that water. They didn't need any of that water. You just opened a thing and some water came out one time. And his fans don't know that he's super duper full of shit. His fans don't know it. And because they don't know it, they repeat, he unlocked the water. He made our toilets flow again. He made our dishwashers better. He saved all of our money. He saved the border. He deported 11 billion people. even though he didn't do any of that. I don't know what wish he made on a twisted monkey's paw to have the just dumbest, most gullible fans in the world. But he did it. I don't know how he did it, but he's done it. He has the dumbest, most gullible followers of anybody, anywhere, ever, for all eternity. They will just say the things that he says and never look into it. They'll say that he saved their water pressure. How? They'll tell you that he lowered egg prices. No. What bill did he pass to lower egg prices? He didn't do anything like that. He didn't sign anything. Yeah, well, he signs a fuckload of things, but they're all just words. They're not doing anything. The only time he ever does anything is when the police show up. When the armed people show up to wrestle you to the ground, that's the only thing he can do. He can't control the economy. He can't control gas prices. He can't control oil prices. He can't control egg prices. He can't control how much water comes out of your faucet. He can't control how much water is in the pipes in Los Angeles. But he can send people, armed men, to wrangle you, hurt you, and put you on the ground and drag you away. That he can do.
Saved out gas prices by begging on his social media.
Right. It didn't make any sense, and nobody did anything. But he'll claim that he won, And social media is what those stupid people see. His MAGA faithful.
The dude is a dog whistle machine, though. So a lot of them pretend to agree because they like what he's whistling.
Yeah, there is that they want him to be correct. They feel like he is right in saying the thing that they've been thinking for all this time. Where'd all these brown people come from? Doesn't look like my country anymore, they say. And then he says that, and they're like, then they get excited. And then they follow him straight into hell. They follow him all the way down to fascism is where they follow him to, because that's what they always wanted. And I got a lot of that on YouTube comments the other day. Lots of people very excited about the fascism, about the authoritarianism. They're so happy that it's finally happening. Here's Zoran Mamdani again. So we're going to listen to the lie secretary tell us about that.
Peter.
Thank you, Caroline. Does President Trump want Zoran Mamdani deported?
I haven't heard him say that. I haven't heard him call for that. But certainly he does not want this individual to be elected. I was just speaking to him about it and his radical policies that will completely crush New York City, which is obviously a city that the president holds near and dear to his heart.
There's this Congressman Andy Ogles. He wants the Attorney General Bondi to explore denaturalization proceedings because he thinks Mamdani could have misrepresented or concealed material support for terrorism based on rap lyrics he wrote in 2017. Does President Trump think this is a worthwhile use of the Attorney General's time?
Well, I'll let the president speak to that. I have not seen those claims, but surely if they are true, it's something that should be investigated.
So maybe we'll investigate it. If he doesn't like what you said, I didn't have it on screen. If he doesn't like what you said, you get investigated. If you say things he does like, they don't investigate you. You can commit all the crimes you want. If Donnie gives you the thumbs up, you can do whatever you want. But if he gives you the thumbs down, extra investigation, we find some rap lyric you wrote in 2017 and say that proves that you support terrorism. And because you support terrorism, your naturalization forms are clearly wrong and you lied, so you get deported. Madness, insanity. They just don't like what he says. And they will take that right away from him. You are not allowed to say things that they don't like anymore. You're not allowed to say stuff. Saying stuff is going to be a crime pretty soon. Hey, here's somebody who said something stupid. Alligator lives matter. The good news is that alligators are guaranteed at least 65 million meals if we get started now. 65 million. Where did she come up with a number? 65 million. So this is a Nazi, Lauren Loomer, a crazy Nazi, but she gets to talk to the president. She gets to talk to the president. Okay? And she wants 65 million people to die, be devoured by very large reptiles because she hates you. She is a Nazi, remember? The entire Latino population in the United States is 65 million. She means all of them. That's what she's talking about. That's who she's pointing towards. She wants an entire ethnicity to be killed. And if you pressure her, if you were in any way, shape, or form able to confront her,
that's crazy work.
There's not enough alligators. If you were to pressure her, you know what she would say? Oh, it's a joke. I was just kidding. I was just goofing around on Twitter. Don't you know? Twitter's just full of jokes. Hilarious jokes about genocide. She was just kidding. You know, she was just making a joke about killing an entire ethnicity. It was just a little goof, just a little goofy goober. She's a silly little lady making silly little jokes about ethnic cleansing in America. She gets to talk to the president. You know, she has had several meetings with him. She sees him probably not on a regular basis any longer. She's pretty mad at him.
I'm pretty sure if she said that in the UK, she would get slapped with hate speech laugh FRFR.
Right. She probably would. They have much tighter, not only hate speech, but also libel laws. The UK has much tighter libel laws, much stronger libel laws. So yeah, she gets to meet with him. I think she kind of abandoned him. That's Laura Loomer said. She's some sort of weird, disturbing troll monster, who lives under a bridge. She kind of abandoned Trump when he promised to let the Epstein files out, and then they let the Epstein files out, and it was the same Epstein files that we already had. Imagine that. Imagine if I hyped you up, all of my amazing, adoring fans like Shinsinto and any of it, and I hyped you up on a really big, super fun episode this Saturday morning at the regular time, and then I just replayed this stream entirely. I could do it. I have the technology. I have the computer.
Dino dance, Dino dance, Dino dance, Dino dance.
I could just run this thing again. You wouldn't like it. You'd be mad at me. You would be right to be mad at me if I hyped you up and told you what a great time we were going to have, and then I played this again. That's what Donald Trump did to Laura Loomer and all of her crazy, stupid followers. He promised them that he was going to release the Epstein files. He talked about how great it was. This blonde Nazi lady, where'd she go? Did I already close her off? I already closed her off. I couldn't stand looking at her anymore. Not Pam Bondi. Yeah, Pam Bondi also hyped it up. So did Cara Lyon Levitt. The word lie is right there in her name, you know. Of course she's lying. So yeah, they hyped it up. They talked about how great it was going to be. And then they released the same thing that we already had. They released nothing. Nothing new anyway. It was the same fucking binder. They just photocopied the damn thing and they just handed it out again. They took yesterday's newspaper, reprinted it, and said it's today's newspaper. And then everybody got mad at them because Laura Loomer and the conspiracy theorist tinfoil hat people are really up on their Jeffrey Epstein knowledge. You know, they know a lot about him and what he does and who he's ever spoken to. So they've gone through with a fine-tooth comb every single thing he's ever said publicly and every single connection he's ever had and all kinds of stuff. And they're dying for new content. They are just aching for that new patch to drop. I feel for them, really. I'm a Path of Exile player. I understand waiting intently for a new patch, you know. So they didn't get it. They got the same thing again. And just like gamers, when you get the same patch again, you're grumpy, you're mad, you go to the internet, you rail on and on about it. So that's what she did. And that's why she might not be on Trump's best girl list right now. But she could have a meeting with him if she really wanted to. And that's the point. That's the thing that pisses me off, is that intelligent people with good ideas and well-meaning plans for the future, they don't get to talk to the president. Fuck no. If you've got a good idea about how to make the world a better place, you get lost, hippie. We need people who are going to make money. How do we turn $1? That's who he wants to meet with. How do we rile the people up? How do we get everybody excited about whatever horse shit we're shoveling right this minute? That's who they want to talk to. They want to talk to the influencers, not the peacemakers, not the diplomats. No, they want to talk to the influencers. Let's see if the thing passed. Let's go to CNN, I suppose. If you're watching, hop in the chat. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. We'll see if the big, brutal bill has passed. Let's check the blue sky. Journalists. Tomorrow, Brego. I'm just cruising blue sky now, guys. I hope this is riveting content for you. San Francisco Chronicle. Nothing about the bill. Nothing about the bill. This guy's fantastic. Every time this guy is on stage, it's snarky. Let's listen to him.
For a freshman Republican congressman from Colorado. Because Jeff Hurd signed a letter saying that he could not support the deep Medicaid cuts in the Senate version of President Trump's budget bill. And the Senate narrowly passed that bill this morning. Now the House has to vote on it as is. The bill changed drastically hour by hour in the Senate as deals were cut to get individual Republicans on board. The current version that goes back to the House includes about $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, partially paid for by cuts to Medicaid and food assistance, and the rollback of clean energy tax breaks. Some controversial provisions were removed from the bill, including a proposal to sell off millions of acres in public land in western states. Jeff Hurd is the only Colorado Republican in Congress who's expressed any concern about the Medicaid cuts. His district in western and southern Colorado.
Yeah, did you hear about that? They were thinking about selling off the land. That's our land. As an American, you own some of that land. And not only is it a dumbass idea to sell it, because the land makes money. It is a net positive for the government. It makes more money than they spend on it because people go there. They have campouts there. They pay to go to those parks. They pay to go to those places. The national parks make the government money, but they want to sell a bunch of them because they don't like you. They don't care about you. They want money for their corporate donors. They want money for their preferred stockholders. They want money for their bosses, which ain't you. It's their donors. It's their investors. It's the people who pay them. It's the lobbyists who keep giving them money to run their campaigns where they pretend to care about you. Well, we continue.
Colorado has the highest percentage of Medicaid recipients in the state. It's about 30% of the population. Republican Rep Gabe Evans' district in Adams and Weld counties is a close second in terms of Medicaid recipients, but Evans is enthusiastically on board with those Medicaid cuts.
Okay, well, that guy's usually pretty sassy. He's a good guy. I like this guy, this news guy. So it looks like it hasn't passed. So House floor latest. So this was how long ago? A couple of minutes ago. 206, 216 right now. All 212 Democrats have showed up and voted no. So unless one of the four Republican no flips, this rule to advance Donald Trump's one big beautiful bill is toast. I think that they'll get it. I really think this is going to happen. This 5-minute vote has now been open for well over an hour because Republicans don't have the votes to advance the mega bill, and it is a procedural vote, not a passage, not on passage. The four Republicans who have voted no are Clyde, Fitzpatrick, Self, and Sparks. I think one of them is going to flip. I really think so. It still looks like it hasn't passed, but I think it will. I think one of them will get some concession piece of bullshit. One of them will get like, hey, we'll put $70,000 into your stupid hometown. And they'll be like, yeah, okay, great. And then they'll vote for it. It's not going to be good. It's going to be bad. Medicaid cuts, the huge increase in the deficit because, as I said before, Donald Trump just thinks that we're going to infinite growth, just because he's around. The economy's just going to do 5 times better than it ever has before. No rules, no reasoning to make that happen. There's no magic that he's put in place. There's no complicated trade negotiations or diplomacy kind of things that he's put into place to make that happen. He just believes it's going to be. He believes he's going to win the lottery and the American economy will be 5 times what it is now. And then the taxes that come in from that gigantic 5 times larger economy will fund the thing that he's proposing right now. He will gladly pay you on Tuesday for a hamburger today. Only old people will get that joke. All right. Let's see. That is just about all I have for tonight. What am I doing with my life? So what is today? Today is Wednesday. So, what's going to happen is on Friday, I think it's a holiday, so I won't be at work. So I'm going to do a video game stream on Friday morning. I'm going to get up, Friday morning, 4th of July, and play a video game stream. It'll be a good time. Maybe it'll be fun. Maybe it won't. So come on by on Friday, put something silly in chat, and I will argue just any old thing. Come up with some good arguments on what you want to argue about on Friday.
Watch it playin'.
I got a new game on the Steam sale. It's called UFO 51. It is a lot of little mini games. Oh, no, UFO 50. Sorry. It's a bunch of little mini games, and I haven't played it yet, but I have heard good things about it. So I'm just going to kind of be reacting to it and exploring it in a way I didn't, in not knowing what it is. So it's called UFO 50. It's got lots of little video games. And it was on sale during the Steam sale. You should go to the Steam summer sale. They're not sponsoring me, but they could. I mean, I could talk about how great Steam is for money, if they want to give me money. But yeah, we'll be playing this thing with lots of little mini games. That's the point, is that it's something that I can just barely put any human brain power to while talking to chat, while reading chat, while running a stream, and while arguing complex, nuanced political positions all at the same time, because I am just that talented. So I'm going to do that on Friday morning. Come by, say hello, argue any point, even if it's just about movies or TV or something like that. I have plenty of controversial movie opinions as well. There's, I can talk about all kinds of weird shit, and I can do that on Friday morning. I'll probably wake up around 7 or something like that, get some coffee, take a shower, wake up, start around 8 or 9, maybe 9. Yeah, let's shoot for 9 Friday morning, 9 o'clock PST, West Coast time. I'll be on, and I'll stream until I get tired. I usually don't like to eat on stream, but maybe if we're having a good time and there's people there and everybody's paying attention, everybody's having a good old holiday, I'll keep going through lunch or something like that until I starve to death. But that is the plan. And then I'll do a regular politics stream on Saturday morning with the links and the vitriol and the hatred that I am, I guess, known for. So that was it for me tonight. I appreciate everybody who's here. Any of it, thank you for coming in. Shinsinto, thanks as always. If you're watching if you want, or you miss a stream, you can go over to YouTube. Boop.
YouTube.
Go over to the YouTube link, click on that button, and you can watch old videos. The latest video is doing well. So if you really loved me, you would watch it, even if you've already heard me say the things. That would make me happy. And I will be back on Friday morning at about 9 o'clock. Probably, yeah, I'm shooting for 9. We'll make it 9. I hate being late and I hate being early. So 9 o'clock it is. So I'll be back on 9 o'clock on Friday. We'll play some little mini games. Try and distract me. I would love for the robot to try and distract me while I'm doing something complicated and difficult. That would be fun. So get in and make the robot lady make cow noises or something.
Moo.
I mean, bitch will moo if you want her to.
Cluck.
Yeah, see, exactly. You can just make the robot lady and just do silly things. It'll be a good time. So that'll be on Friday. That's it.
Boing,
from
boing.
Boing boing. Exactly. You can try and distract me with these silly robot lady voices, and then maybe we'll get some new viewers. It'll be a good time. We'll bring everybody in, and then we'll force them to think like us. No. Wait. Hang on. Wait. No. We're not going to force them. We're going to convince them. Through facts and logic, to be more left, and we'll move people to the left, one video game stream at a time.
Robot eating babies.
Robot eating babies. That's, yeah, exactly. Is that happening? Is the Twitch robot eating babies? I don't know. And this is what Friday's game stream could look like. You could be here when it looks like this. It'll be a good time. And it'll be a holiday, so you have
Re-education.
no.
Yay.
Exactly. This guy knows what's up. that is it for me tonight. Thanks for coming. I will be back on Friday morning unless the Gestapo kicks in my door and drags me off to the gulag. I have just mispronounced everything today. I should be ashamed.